Hello, implementers. My name is Anthony English, and this is episode number 4 of Learn to Implement, where you learn how to apply your learning, all of those thousands of things that you have been binge watching, learning, reading, listening, and so that you can turn yourself from a lifelong learner to an implementer. In other words, I'm going to teach you how to apply all of those things that you are learning. And today, I want to focus on one thing, which is procrastination, postponement. In a sense, there's no time like the future. What? No time like the future? Well, think of it this way. Every time you take an action that is not of immediate benefit, you're kind of making a commitment to your future self. Simple example. Let's say that you put your car keys in a particular place when you get home. That is a way of saying to your future self, hey, I'm going to respect you. I don't want you to be racing around looking frustrated. Where did I put my keys? When you brush your teeth, you're saying, hey, I expect that I'm going to live beyond today. If this was my last day on the planet, I probably wouldn't bother brushing my teeth. But I'm doing it because I expect to live longer. Now, this thinking applies to all kinds of things, to diets, to habits, to postponing things. When we postpone something, when we procrastinate, well, the word procrastinate means to put off until tomorrow. Cras is Latin for tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow doesn't mean necessarily tomorrow. It could be years away or months away or weeks away. So is the solution to do everything now? Just do it? No, not at all. And even Nike, they don't run their business in terms of just do it. They plan. Okay, they don't just say, hey, let's switch. Let's stop selling shoes because, hey, let's just do it. Somebody's come up with a new idea that we're going to be an ice cream company instead. Let's do it. No, just do it. That's not how they work. They plan. And I put it to you that what you are doing every time you make a decision, including a decision to postpone, you are helping or maybe hindering your future self. And so what you really want to do, I think, is work out how can I invest in such a way that when that thing does come up, when I do have time to do it, I'm going to be ready. So I'll give you a very simple example with this podcast. I've been toying with the idea of starting a podcast. I did have one on imposter syndrome, and I kind of converted it to this Learn to Implement podcast. And I thought, well, how can I get this happening? I wanted to be clear, especially about who my audience was. Because if I make it for everybody, then that's not going to be attractive to anybody. And I wanted the idea to be around processes and what I really processes and productivity and so on. And what I realized is the sort of people who are going to benefit from listening to this Learn to Implement podcast are people who are already learning. It's not like they only watch social media to capture the news or for entertainment. They are already learning. You are already listening to podcasts, reading self-improvement books, improving your financial literacy, getting yourself organized, buying tools, working out what is the best way to get things done so that you're not feeling frustrated. And I said, well, that's my audience. So I worked out who it was for. That's still very broad because everybody wants to get things done. But generally, it's people who have got a side hustle or they're thinking about it. They're thinking that, hey, I'm going to devote some time to this self-improvement to learn how to build habits and so on. That's step one. And then step two was, that was part one of who it's for. And part two is they're good at learning, but not so good at implementing, not at applying the lessons. And that's probably true for us all. But some people are super efficient, very, very productive. And others, they're kind of frustrated and just too much, they're digesting too much or eating too much, biting off more than they can chew in terms of knowledge. But then I said, okay, what is the next step? What is the simplest possible way that I can make this easy for my future self? And the easiest possible way, and I'll speak about this in future episodes, is to build a process. That's a very simple process. So what can I do with this podcast that is going to make it easy for me to get it out there? And it's literally plugging in the microphone and talking off the top of my head without notes and without using any video, without doing any special images for each podcast episode, and not adding any music, basically no editing. And so that was really a commitment to my future self that, hey, if I'm going to make a podcast, I'm going to make it easy for my future self to record new episodes. And so that is what I'm talking about here for you, is what is it that you can do so that the burden on yourself in the future, and the future could be tomorrow morning, is going to be less. And it could be a simple matter of putting out your clothes the night before, or getting yourself organized, putting the keys back in place. It could be around building processes, around building systems so that you're not always in reactive mode. It could be around choosing a chunk of time, selecting preloading a chunk of time, basically time blocking, and saying that is when I'm going to be spending time on my accounts or on my business or with my family or whatever. What is it that you can do now that is not stealing from your future, but is actually giving? So that flow is from today to tomorrow. Okay, if you stay up too late, that is stealing from your future self, because you'll be tired. You'll probably be tired tomorrow. But what is it that you can do that's going to invest today for tomorrow in terms of your time? Okay, because that is where your focus can be. There is no time like the future. That is where you can give your best. So that is the episode for today of the Learn to Implement podcast. Once again, my name is Anthony English, and we'll see you in the next episode.